I just hit $6,600 in revenue on Etsy in September, making it my biggest month ever. And the month before, I only made $2,100, but somehow this month just exploded. And in this video, I'm going through exactly how that happened, the strategies that worked, and most importantly, how much I actually get to keep from that $6,000. Hi, I'm Guy, and I've been running my Etsy store for about over a year now. When I first started, I was actually selling digital products, but after a year, I decided to slowly transition and add print on demand or physical products to this store. And so far, it's been going pretty well. Like, better than I expected. But anyway, let's get into my dashboard so I can show you exactly what happened this month. So to recap, in August, I made $2,121.21. And then in September, my shop got 5,580 visits with a 3.9% conversion rate, which is actually a 0.4% increase from the previous month. And that gave me 217 orders and a total revenue of $6,609.59. Now, with that kind of increase, you think that the graph would look like this perfect upward slope, right? Like a clean diagonal line shooting straight up. But it's still very much like a roller coaster. There are peaks, dips, and a few random flat days in between. Some days I'd get only 1 or 2 sales, but my best performing days had around 12 to 13 orders. So on average, that's about 7 orders a day or about $220 in daily revenue. Now, if you've been following my channel for a while, you know that I run Etsy ads. And this month, I got 91,000 views, 1,446 clicks, and 82 orders from my ads. So that's a little less than half of my total sales. And in terms of the distribution between which ones are physical product sales or digital product sales, I'd say it's about 70-30, like 70% physical products and 30% digital products. So I spent $1,036 and got back $3,250 in revenue, which gives me a ROAS or return on ad spend of 3.14, which is actually kind of low but still above my break-even ROAS. My ad budget was actually set to $100 a day, and I was using the efficient spending strategy. This actually used to be called something like balance orders with return, and I didn't notice, but it looks like Etsy just renamed it. Now here on the payment account page for September, it shows that my net profit is 273,326 pesos, which is the first time I've ever hit 6 figures in Philippine pesos. And not just that, but almost 300,000 pesos, which honestly blows my mind. And seeing that number on screen feels amazing, but of course that's just on paper. And before I show you how much I actually get to keep, let's go through what I think caused this big jump. So when I started adding physical products back in July, I told myself I was going to be consistent, and I really tried to stick to that. I was uploading new listings almost every day, or at least a few times a week. And I wasn't just adding 1 or 2 designs a day. Sometimes I'd upload 5, and it was a grind, but it paid off. And the reason I was able to upload 5 is because I was getting at least 5 sales a day, so my sales velocity was able to catch up to that. Now, what's interesting is that a lot of sellers have said that September was a slow month for them. But for me, it was my best month ever, and I think I kinda know why. So Etsy released this new guideline that said sellers should start using shorter titles, and people freaked out a little bit. A lot of shops started changing their SEO, but I didn't. I didn't shorten my titles, I didn't change the way I use keywords, and I didn't even use Etsy's new AI tool. I just did everything the way that I've been doing since I started my store last year, and somehow that ended up working in my favor. There's this Etsy YouTuber, Add to Cart, and he used this analogy that I really liked. He said, it's like Etsy shuffled the deck of cards. And I think for some reason, the cards just landed right for me. Another thing that I think helped me is that the new product types that I added were related to my digital products. And what I mean by this is that they use the same keywords that my shop was already ranking for. Basically, they piggybacked off the existing products that were performing well. And I think that's one of the biggest reasons why I saw this sudden jump in revenue. I actually explained the strategy in detail in another video. I'll link it up here or in the description, so check that out if you want to dive deeper. But yeah, that's pretty much what I think happened behind the scenes. Alright, let's talk about the part that I know a lot of you are here for, and this is gonna hurt a little. Because from $6,600 in revenue, after subtracting my Printify costs, I only earned around 27,000 Philippine pesos or around $463. So that's a net profit margin of 7%. Yeah, that was a huge shock for me. I honestly can't believe it. I thought I was keeping way more than that. And it made me pause for a bit, like, okay, what went wrong? So I took some time to reflect and figure out what actually ate into my profits. And that's why this video is kind of coming out a bit late. This is what I found. My first mistake was that I actually mispriced one of my new products. And this isn't just one listing, it's one product type. So because I did a lot of design variations for it, it impacted a lot of listings. And when I launched it, I underestimated the real shipping cost. So I charged customers under $6 for shipping. But the actual cost for standard shipping for this product is closer to $8. So I basically was pricing at break even. Now, break-even pricing is a strategy that sellers do intentionally use when launching new products to boost visibility, and it's a valid strategy. But in my case, it wasn't intentional, and since I was running ads, that ad spend ate up my profit on that product line. So yeah, do double check your numbers before launching something new. And the second thing is not really a mistake, but something that just is. And that is I offer expedited shipping. So I made a separate listing for people who wanted to upgrade their shipping after checkout. Because on Etsy, you can't just update shipping once the order is placed. So I made a listing where customers can buy that upgrade. But the thing is that it shows up as revenue on my dashboard, even though it's not actual profit. It's literally just me collecting money and passing it on to Printify. So those sales inflated my revenue a bit, even though they didn't really earn me anything. And I didn't want to overprice my expedited shipping just to profit off of it. The third one is refunds. It happens, and I've talked about this before. But yeah, I used to refund people way too easily. I had this policy where if you weren't satisfied, I'd refund you, no questions asked. But this has turned out to be a recipe for disaster because when something arrives late or a customer changes their mind, that refund comes straight out of my pocket. And I used to say yes to almost every refund request just to avoid a bad review. But that did more harm than good, so I don't do that anymore. Now I only refund when it's clearly the print provider's fault, like a print error or a damaged item, or if the courier gets the item lost in transit. For anything else, I would decline or remind them that a late order is not under my jurisdiction.
Huh?
So yeah, if you're like me and you tend to people please, don't do that. Set boundaries, okay? You'll thank yourself later. Now, I do have to say that if I wasn't subscribed to Printify Premium, I probably would have lost even more money. Printify Premium gives you up to 20% off product costs. So it's $29 a month or $220 for a year. And people would usually say, like, you only need to sell 6 shirts to pay for it. But that's not entirely true. The actual difference between premium and non-premium pricing is about $1 to $4 or $5 per product. So you'd need to sell closer to maybe 15 shirts per month if the difference is $2, right? To break even. So yeah, if you're selling at least that much, I think premium is worth it and it's time to upgrade. Otherwise, maybe just wait until your shop has a bit more traction. And one more thing I want to talk about is luck. Because I think people underestimate that it does actually play a bit of a role on Etsy. You can do everything right, like SEO, listing photos, and still not take off. Meanwhile, someone else could do the exact same thing and blow up. And I say that because As you may know, I actually have another Etsy shop that sells t-shirts, and I use the same SEO strategy, the same types of listing photos and FAQs, but it didn't perform anywhere as well. I've also been listing consistently on that. And in September, that second shop got 39 orders for a revenue of about $993, which is still the best month for that shop, but it's nothing close to this one. So, yeah, luck might play a part of it too. And yes, you can stack the odds in your favor with good strategy, but you can't control everything, and there are just some factors out of your control. So with that, I'm not really expecting my next month to suddenly jump to like $12,000 in revenue. Based on my experience of doing this for over a year, that's just not how Etsy works. It's a roller coaster. Some months are amazing, some months are quiet, and sometimes you'll have no idea why. All I can do is stay consistent, keep adding listings, and try to hit that next goal, which is $10,000 in profit, not just revenue. It also makes you think, right? Whenever someone says they make $20,000 a month on Etsy, like how much of that is actual profit? Because tools like Everbee or Allura don't really show refunds, ad spend, or shipping costs. So there's always more to the story. So yeah, business is hard. Costs sneak up, mistakes happen, refunds hurt, but that's how we learn. For me, I'm just trying to take this month by month, and September is both a win and a lesson to be smarter with pricing, to say no when to say no, and to keep building. Anyway, that's it for this month's Etsy report. It's been crazy. Definitely my biggest month yet, and my biggest learning curve because I've discovered that with more money comes more things that can possibly go wrong. But I'm honestly still just grateful for how everything turned out. If you enjoyed this or found it helpful, please drop a like. And if you want to keep following along as I try to hit the $10,000 profit mark, make sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.